Fire in the ruined district. The sun had set long ago on the ruined colony district, leaving behind shadows, ash, and silence. Buildings made from metal and stone stood broken, some leaning, others collapsed. It looked like a ghost town, dead and forgotten. But tonight it was not quiet. Flames roared from one side of the district. Fire danced on rooftops, turning walls into smoke. The heat was intense, glowing orange against the dark sky. Logan, a human engineer from Earth, stepped off his old cargo skimmer. His boots hit the dusty ground with a crunch. He pulled his scanner from his belt and checked the area. He had come for spare tech parts, nothing more. This place used to be a high-tech alien district before war, and time destroyed it. As he walked closer to the burning section, Logan covered his nose with a scarf. The air was thick with smoke. He moved fast, heading toward an old generator tower that still gave off a weak energy signal. But then, he heard something strange. A scream. It wasn't loud. It was broken. Weak. But it was there. A cry for help. Logan stopped. He turned toward the sound. His scanner beeped, confused, unable to detect life through the fire. Another scream. This time closer. Sharper. It was a voice full of fear and pain. He ran. Through the smoke and heat, Logan pushed his way toward the burning buildings. His eyes watered and his skin burned from the dry air. But he didn't stop. A collapsed building blocked the road, but Logan climbed over broken beams and debris. On the other side, the fire was worse. An old alien shelter was half destroyed. Fire crawling along its sides, and inside, it was her. He saw her for just a second between the flames. A woman, not human. Her skin was light blue, dirty and bruised. Her body was trapped under a fallen beam. Her long silver hair was covered in ash, and her glowing eyes widened when she saw him. She was terrified. Most people would have turned around. Most people would have thought she wasn't worth saving. She wasn't human. She was from a race people didn't trust. Aliens who had once fought Earth during the old wars. But Logan didn't think like that. He rushed in. The fire snapped at his clothes, burning the edge of his jacket. He dropped to his knees beside the woman and tried to lift the beam. It was heavy, too heavy. He looked at her face. She was barely conscious. Her mouth opened, and she whispered something he didn't understand. He gritted his teeth and looked around. There, a metal rod. Logan grabbed it and used it as a lever. He pushed with all his strength, the fire closing in fast. The beam moved just enough. With one hard pull, Logan grabbed her arm and dragged her out from under it. She cried in pain, but she was free. "Hang on," he said. "I've got you." She didn't respond. Her body was limp in his arms, skin burning hot, not from fever but from the fire's heat. Logan lifted her and ran. His boots slammed against the floor, dodging falling pieces of burning debris. The roof behind them collapsed. He barely made it out. Outside, the air was still bad but better than inside. Logan laid her gently on the ground. She was breathing, but shallow. Her arms were covered in red burns, her side bruised. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. Logan knelt beside her. "Hey, stay with me. You're safe now." Her eyes opened slowly, glowing, soft. In a broken voice, she whispered, "Why, help me." He paused, then said, "Because no one else would." She looked at him like she had never heard anything like that before. In the distance, the fire kept burning. Logan picked her up again. She was light, almost too light, like her body had already started to give up. He started walking back toward his skimmer, heart beating fast. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know what trouble she might bring, but he knew one thing for sure. This woman wasn't just a random survivor. Someone wanted her dead, and he had just changed both their lives forever. Logan's skimmer glided over the cracked earth as morning light broke across the wasteland. In the back seat, the alien woman lay still, wrapped in his spare jacket. Her skin, once light blue, was now pale and blistered. She hadn't spoken a word since he carried her out of the fire, He had questions. Too many. But right now, he needed to keep her alive. 30 minutes later, Logan reached his outpost, an old service bunker built into the side of a canyon wall. It was basic, with solar panels, food rations, and some med supplies. He used it for salvage trips. He never thought he'd be bringing someone home, especially not an alien. Inside, Logan laid her on a padded bench and opened a first aid kit. The burns were bad. Not deep, but painful. He cleaned her wounds gently. She winced, but didn't open her eyes. After wrapping her arms in cooling gel strips, he gave her water drop by drop. Her lips were dry. Her hands trembled, but she drank. When she finally opened her eyes again, it was hours later. She flinched when she saw him. "Easy," Logan said softly. "You're safe. Nobody's going to hurt you." She sat up slowly, her arms hugging her sides like a frightened animal. Her voice came out hoarse and shaky. "Why? Save me?" she asked again, just like she did back in the fire. Logan shrugged. "Because you were burning alive. No one else would." He nodded. "I know. Her name was Sahira." That night, Logan sat across from her, drinking weak coffee while she nibbled on protein bars like they were foreign food. She kept glancing at the door, jumping at every sound. "You're running from someone, aren't you?" Logan asked. Sahira didn't answer right away. She looked down at her burned hands. Then she whispered, "They wanted me dead. They still." Teresi Logan leaned forward. "Who?" "My own people," she said. "I was born into the wrong bloodline. My clan lost the war. We became dirt, worthless. They came to finish the purge. And they set the fire?" She nodded. Logan sat back, stunned. "So you were hiding in that wreck alone?" "For many days. I had nowhere else to go. I thought maybe death would be quiet." There was no anger in her voice, no tears, just exhaustion. Logan clenched his jaw. He'd heard stories about tribal wars between alien clans on the outer colonies, but he never thought he'd meet someone crushed beneath it. "You're not going back there," he said firmly. "You stay here, heal up, then we figure something out." Sahira blinked at him, confused. "You don't fear me?" "No," Logan said. "Should I? My people called yours monsters. Cold, violent." Logan chuckled softly. "That's funny. Earth said the same about your kind." There was silence. And then, to his surprise, Sahira gave a small smile. It lasted only a second, but it was real. 2 days passed. Sahira healed slowly. She moved quietly through the bunker, never touching anything unless asked. She kept her back to the wall, always watching. Logan noticed she never turned her back to a doorway, like someone who had been hunted too long, but something strange happened. She started helping. She fixed the solar regulator after watching him do it once. She boiled water when he was resting. She even taught his service drone how to speak her language. "You're smart," Logan said one evening, surprised. "Engineer?" "Once," she replied, "before they took everything. Maybe it's time you got it back." Before she could respond, a loud beep echoed from the console. Logan's heart dropped. Motion alert. He rushed to the monitor. A drone, non-human, sleek and black, was flying near the canyon entrance. Sahira stood behind him, frozen. "That's them," she whispered. "They found me." Logan grabbed his rifle and turned to her. "We've got 2 options," he said. "We hide and hope they don't come closer, or we prepare to fight." She looked up at him, fear in her eyes. "You would fight for me?" "I already did," he said. "Might as well finish what I started." The night was cold. The desert wind howled outside Logan's bunker, rattling the metal shutters. Inside, silence sat heavy, broken only by the low hum of machines and Sahira's quiet breathing. Logan sat across from her, polishing his rifle. His eyes kept drifting to the table between them. It was covered in papers, hand-drawn maps, and one blurry photo. A screenshot from the surveillance drone. The black vessel spotted earlier that day was now parked on the ridge. They were close. Too close. Sahira, wrapped in a blanket, finally broke the silence. "They won't stop, you know," she said softly. "Even if I leave, even if I beg, they won't stop." Logan didn't respond. He waited. Then she said something he hadn't expected. "I want to show you something." She stood, the blanket sliding off her shoulders. She walked slowly to the back wall, then turned her back to him and gently lifted her shirt. Logan looked and froze. Her back was covered in scars. Long, deep marks crisscrossed like a road map of pain. Some were old, some recent, some clearly from knives, others looked like burns. "I was 12 when the first one was given," Sahira said quietly. "For speaking in my mother's tongue. My bloodline was banned after the Civil War." She let the shirt fall back into place. "Every time I survived, a purge, they added another scar. Not to punish me, to mark me, to remind others I wasn't one of them anymore." Logan swallowed hard. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because I want you to know who I really am. You saved my body, but this is what's left of my soul." Logan stood up slowly and walked over to her. He didn't touch her scars. He didn't speak. He simply stood beside her until she looked up at him. "You're not what they say," he finally said. "Not worthless, not cursed, you're still alive." She blinked. That means something. The next day, Logan got to work. He rebuilt the motion sensors around the canyon. He set traps, some basic, some clever. Sahira watched him work, then silently joined in. She didn't ask him why he was helping, but as they worked side by side, she began to tell him more. "My father was a shipmaker. My mother was a speaker. She translated for the first human visitors. That's why they hated us. They said we were too soft with outsiders." Logan looked up. "So your people turned on their own?" "They called us traitors. But we're just curious." She paused. "That curiosity is why I'm still alive. I learned how to run, how to hide, how to stay invisible." Logan gave a faint smile. "Well, your invisibility failed the moment you screamed inside a burning building." She gave a small laugh. It was quiet, but it was the first real laugh since he'd met her. That night, Logan and Sahira sat at the entrance of the bunker watching the stars. "It's strange," she whispered. "When I was young, I used to believe the stars were safe places, somewhere I could escape to. But they only watched as my world burned." Logan looked at her. "Maybe the stars didn't save you, but someone did." Sahira turned to him. Her eyes softened. "Why do you care, Logan? You don't owe me anything." "I don't have to owe you," he said. "I just do." They sat in silence again, but this time it wasn't heavy. It was peaceful. Suddenly a sharp beep broke the moment. Logan rushed to the console. Alarm triggered. Perimeter breach. Sahira was beside him in a flash. "Front ridge," Logan said, pointing at the screen. "They're coming." 3 figures moved fast across the scanner. He could tell from the heat signatures. They were armed. Hunting. Sahira reached for the side panel and pulled out a hidden energy blade. Curved, alien, elegant. "You sure you're ready to fight?" Logan asked. She met his eyes. "I've been running my whole life. Tonight, I stop." The stars above the canyon were silent, cold and countless, but on the ground, death was moving. 3 shadowy shapes crept down the rocky trail that led to Logan's hidden bunker. Their footsteps were light. No words, no mercy. Each wore black armor with blood-red symbols painted across the chest. Symbols Sahira recognized all too well. The mark of the Flameborn, assassins, clan hunters, trained to erase people like her. Inside the bunker, Logan finished arming the last trap. A pressure wire at the entrance. A gas charge hidden behind a rock. A turret rigged with motion tracking. He moved like someone who had done this before. Sahira stood behind him, silent but alert. She had tied her silver hair back and gripped the curved energy blade tightly in her hand. Her eyes were not afraid anymore. They were focused. "They'll come fast," Logan said, "and they'll hit hard." "Then we hit harder," she replied. Minutes passed. The wind died. Even the insects went quiet. Then, a click, a soft snap of a wire. Boom! The explosion lit up the dark canyon entrance like a thunderclap. Rocks and fire filled the air. Logan ducked behind a metal shield, pulling Sahira down with him. When he looked up, one attacker was already down, thrown off the ridge by the blast. 2 left, and they were fast. The second one leapt over the fire like a shadow, landing right in front of the bunker. A plasma blade hissed out from his wrist. He charged. Logan aimed and fired. The bullet hit, but the attacker's armor absorbed it. Logan rolled aside as the plasma blade sliced the floor where he had stood seconds ago. Sahira jumped in. Her blade curved through the air, a flash of light and skill. The attacker blocked it, but not fast enough. Her second strike cut deep into his arm, making him roar in pain. Logan tackled him from behind, slamming the attacker into the wall. Sahira moved with fierce speed, slicing the weapon cord off his wrist. The assassin tried to reach for something, but Sahira didn't hesitate. She stabbed him straight through the chest. His body dropped. The last one didn't come through the front. He was smarter. The rear sensor pinged, a back route through the rocks. Logan grabbed his rifle and took off running. "Watch the front!" he shouted. He climbed the rear ladder to the cliff path. Just as he reached the top, the final attacker appeared, rifle raised. Crack! A bullet flew past Logan's face, missing by inches. He dived behind a rock, then popped, up to return fire. The attacker ducked and ran left. Logan chased. They moved fast, shadows leaping from stone to stone under the moonlight. Then Logan tripped. His foot caught on a crack in the path. He fell hard. The assassin was above him in a flash. The rifle pointed at Logan's head. Then, a flash of silver. Sahira. She had followed them. She threw her blade like lightning. It spun through the air, clean, sharp, and hit the assassin's leg. He screamed and dropped the weapon. Logan didn't wait. He grabbed the man's arm and slammed his elbow into his throat. Once, twice. The body fell backward. Limp. It was over. They stood together on the cliff, breathing hard, sweat dripping down their faces. Below them, the canyon was quiet again. No more footsteps, no more shadows, only stars. Logan looked at her. "You followed me," he said. "You saved me from fire," she answered. "It's only fair I save you from bullets." He gave a tired smile. She didn't smile back, but her eyes said everything. Back in the bunker, Logan cleaned his wounds. His side was bruised, his leg scraped, but he was alive. Sahira sat beside him, gently rewrapping a cut on his arm. "You could have run," he said. "You had the chance." She shook her head. "I'm done running." He nodded, then looked her straight in the eyes. "They'll send more. You know that, right?" "I do." "Then we need to disappear, leave this planet, start over." Sahira stared at the ground. "I don't have anything left, no name, no home, no future." Logan stood. He reached out his hand. "Then let's build one." She looked at his hand for a long moment, and then for the first time she took it. The bunker felt different the next morning. The smoke had cleared. The traps were silent. The bodies were buried beyond the ridge. For the first time since Sahira arrived, there was no sound of footsteps hunting her, just the wind. She stepped. Outside alone, the sky still painted in soft orange. Her hands were bandaged, her movement slower than before. But her eyes, they were different now. Focused. Awake. She looked down the slope where the attackers had fallen. "I never thought I would survive this long," she whispered. Behind her, Logan walked out with 2 steaming cups. "If you're talking to ghosts," he said, handing her one, "you're doing it better than I ever could." Sahira accepted the drink without a word. They stood there side by side, sipping weak bunker coffee and staring into the horizon. Like old soldiers. No need for small talk. She broke the silence. You fight like someone who's done it before. Logan looked down at his bruised knuckles. Used to serve. Earth Navy. Long time ago. Got tired of fighting other people's wars. So you came here to, what, salvage broken machines? He shrugged. They don't scream when they die. Later that day, Logan began packing the skimmer. They had made a decision. They couldn't stay. The assassins wouldn't give up. Not until Sahira was erased from existence. They would leave before nightfall. Sahira entered the storage bay and found Logan sorting fuel cells. I can fly, she said. He raised an eyebrow. The skimmer? No. Bigger ships. I trained. In deep space navigation before everything. I could help. Logan smiled. So now you trust me? She hesitated, then nodded. Last night, you didn't run. You fought for me. He turned toward her and leaned against the crate. Why does that surprise you? She took a deep breath. Because I've never had anyone fight for me and survive. They loaded what little they had. Food rations, med kits, a solar core, a map tablet. Sahira even found a small piece of jewelry among Logan's gear, a simple chain with a tiny carved star. He noticed her looking. It was my sister's, he said quietly. She died in a colony collapse. I kept it. Sahira touched the chain lightly. You keep the ones you lose, even when they're gone. Logan didn't reply. He didn't have to. The silence between them wasn't awkward anymore. It was something else now, something stronger, like the quiet between two survivors who had seen the worst of the galaxy and still chose to care. By dusk, they were ready to leave. But before they boarded, Logan did something strange. He handed Sahira an old half-broken comm device. What's this? She asked. A distress beacon. If something ever happens to me, hit the red switch. It'll alert any human ship nearby. She stared at it. Why would I need this? Because I don't want you to be alone again. Sahira clenched the device in her hand. Her voice was barely a whisper. I don't understand you, Logan. You're kind without asking for anything. Logan smiled faintly. Then maybe that's your next lesson. Kindness doesn't always come with a price. They flew through the night. Sahira took the controls. Her hands, though healing, moved. With practiced ease, she guided the skimmer through broken valleys, over glowing crystal hills and past black oceans that reflected starlight like glass. Logan watched her the whole time. Not as a stranger, not as someone he had rescued, but as something more. When they stopped to rest inside a cave, Sahira spoke again. Logan, if we find a safe place, if we disappear, what happens then? He looked at her, surprised. What do you mean? I mean, will you just drop me off and move on? No. Then what are we? He thought about it, then said, we're two people who don't belong anywhere. So maybe we belong together. She looked down, trying to hide the small smile on her face. Then very quietly she said, I never got to give thanks. Back when you saved me from the fire. You don't have to. I want to. She leaned forward and placed a gentle kiss on his cheek. It was soft, light, but real. Logan didn't speak. He just closed his eyes for a second. Outside the cave, stars continued to fall across the sky. The sky above them was endless. A deep, violet stretch of stars, dust, and cold silence. Logan and Sahira flew low over the old mountain ridges, their skimmer weaving between broken canyons and abandoned outposts. The world behind them burned. The future ahead, unknown. But for the first time in weeks, there was no fear in the cockpit. Only hope. Tell me again, Sahira asked as she leaned back in her seat, voice soft. Where are we going? Logan smiled. A place called Outpost Jericho. Human run. Small. Forgotten. I traded parts there once. It's quiet. Remote. No flameborn. No war. No eyes, Sahira said. No memories. Exactly. She looked out the window at the passing clouds, her fingers resting on the control panel. Do you think they'll let me stay? Someone like me? Logan looked over. If they don't, we leave. Together. They arrived at Jericho as the sun was rising. The outpost was built into the side of a cliff, carved from red stone and old metal. Wind turbines spun lazily on top, and a small landing bay blinked a dim green light. A few humans moved around, slow and sleepy. No soldiers, no weapons. Just people living simple lives. Saira stared out the window as they landed. She didn't speak, didn't move. She just watched, as if afraid that this place, this peace, wasn't real. When the skimmer settled on the pad, Logan climbed out first. He stretched, waved to a nearby technician, then turned back toward the ship. She was still sitting there, frozen. He walked over and tapped on the side. You coming? Sahira looked at him. Her voice was quiet. I've never been in a human town before. Not like this. Don't worry, he said. You're with me. She stepped out, her boots touching the ground like it might break under her. People stared, but not with hate. Just curiosity. One older woman stepped forward and smiled kindly. New face? She asked Logan. 2 new faces, he replied, putting an arm around Saira without thinking. The woman looked Saira up and down, then gave a friendly nod. Long as you don't start fires or steal chickens, you'll be fine. Saira blinked. What's a chicken? Logan laughed. You'll find out. Over the next few days, they were given a small cabin near the cliff edge. Nothing fancy. Just a metal roof, clean water, and quiet nights. Sahira helped repair broken panels in the power grid. Her alien knowledge impressed the mechanics. Slowly, the people began warming up to her. A few even brought her food. One child gave her a wildflower. Logan watched it all from a distance. He saw her posture change, her eyes grow calmer, her voice no longer shaking. She was healing, not just her body, but the part of her that had been hiding for years. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Saira found Logan sitting on a rock ledge outside the cabin. She sat beside him. Neither spoke for a while. Then she said, "This place feels like a beginning." "It is," he said. She looked at him. "Do you ever think about the fire? About the day you found me?" Logan nodded. "Every day." "I was ready to die," she said. "But you didn't let me. You weren't meant to die." "How do you know?" "Because you're still here. With me." She lowered her head, brushing her fingers against her scarred arm. "I never believed in second chances, but now, I'm starting to." He looked at her. "So what now?" She turned toward him, the moons reflecting in her silver eyes. "Now we build something better. Together." They spent the next morning working in the community fields. Saira carried crates. Logan fixed irrigation pipes. Children ran past, them laughing, but peace is a fragile thing, and shadows always catch up. Later that afternoon, Logan checked the relay tower on a hilltop. The radio buzzed with static, until something new broke through. A coded signal, human encryption, but not local. His blood ran cold. He rushed back to the cabin. Saira met him at the door. "What's wrong?" "We've been found." She froze. "How?" He showed her the scanner. "It's not Flameborn. This is worse. Someone with authority. A fleet ship, probably tracking that old distress beacon I gave you." Her eyes widened. "Then they'll come here?" Logan nodded. "Tomorrow." Saira stepped outside, looked at the peaceful village, the people who had accepted her, and then turned back to Logan. "We can't stay, can we?" He shook his head. "No, but this time we don't run. We leave. On our terms." She didn't cry. She didn't flinch. She walked back inside and grabbed her blade, then said, "Let them come. I'm not hiding anymore." The next morning, the sky was too quiet. No birds, no wind, no voices. The people of outpost Jericho had been warned. Logan didn't give details, only told them danger was coming and they should leave. Some packed, some stayed. One man gave him a rifle, another gave him a handshake, and then they were alone. Logan and Sahira stood on the rooftop of their small cliffside cabin, looking into the sky. It was time. A silver dot appeared above the horizon, fast and sharp. Not a scout. A military dropship, human-made, but not friendly. Logan adjusted his gloves, loading his last 2 magazines. His breath was calm, but inside, he felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't just about Sahira anymore. It was about all the choices they had made since that burning wreck. Since the day he pulled her from fire, Sahira, dressed in patched armor built from scrap and old tech, stood beside him with her energy blade glowing dimly at her hip. "Are you scared?" she asked. Logan looked at her. "Yeah, but only a little," she smiled. "That makes 2 of us." The dropship landed hard on the dusty plain outside Jericho. Sand exploded into the air. Its doors opened with a hiss. 4 soldiers stepped out, dressed in elite black suits. Their weapons were clean. Their faces were not curious, they were cold. A 5th figure followed. Not in armor, but in a long coat. Human, older. Eyes sharp like a blade. Logan recognized him. Commander Arlen Voss, ex-Alliance. Now a contractor for Frontier, cleaning missions. He was known to fix problems before they reached Earth's council. Logan muttered, "They didn't send an army. They sent a scalpel." Voss stepped forward, calm and slow, like he had all the time in the galaxy. His voice was smooth and practiced. "Logan Hart, retired technician, Medal of Service. Vanished 5 years ago. And now, living with a war criminal?" Sahira didn't flinch. Logan stepped between them. "She's not a criminal. She's a flame-born survivor," Voss said. "Last of her bloodline. The humans want her gone, the aliens want her gone. You really think hiding her will change anything?" "I'm not hiding her," Logan said. "I'm standing with her." Voss sighed like a disappointed teacher. "Then you'll both disappear." The moment snapped. Gunfire erupted, loud, sharp, close. Logan pulled Sahira behind a metal crate and returned fire. She rushed to the side and flanked left. Bullets whizzed past her, but she was faster. Her blade hummed to life, slicing clean through the air. One soldier dropped, his gun arm cut clean. The others regrouped. Logan's shots were precise, but limited. 2 bullets left. He yelled, "Sahira, cover right." She darted, leaped from a ledge, and landed behind them. Her blade moved in wide arcs, elegant, deadly. She didn't scream. She was silent, focused, like she had trained for this moment her entire life. One soldier fired blindly. His shot struck Sahira's leg. She stumbled but kept moving. Logan charged forward and tackled the last gunman to the ground. They wrestled, fists pounding metal, blood mixing with dust. Logan slammed his knee into the soldier's neck once, twice until the body stilled. Only Voss remained. He hadn't drawn a weapon. He simply stood there, watching. When Logan turned, Voss raised a small remote. "Do you think this ends here?" he asked. "That you saved her by killing 4 men? I have 10 more waiting in orbit, 1 push of a button." Sahira, blood running down her leg, walked slowly toward him. "You talk too much," she said. Then she threw something small, round, blinking red, a pulse grenade. It hit the ground. Boom! A wave of force slammed everything sideways. Logan hit the wall. Voss flew back and crashed into the skimmer's landing gear. Smoke, silence. Logan coughed, crawled forward. Voss groaned on the ground, his hand crushed under metal. Sahira limped to him and picked up the remote. She looked him in the eyes. "You don't decide who gets to live anymore," and crushed it in her hand. The fight was over, but the war, it had changed. That night, the people of Jericho returned slowly. No questions were asked, but word spread. They had seen her fight. Not like a monster, like a protector, a warrior, and a woman who had every reason to run, but didn't. Logan stood by the campfire, bandaging his arm. Sahira sat beside him, her head resting lightly on his shoulder. "I thought it would feel different," she whispered. "What?" "Surviving." Logan smiled faintly. "It's not just surviving anymore. It's living." She turned toward him. "You were right, back at the wreck. You said saving me would change everything." He nodded. "It did." She placed something in his hand. It was a small glowing shard of metal, silver, warm, etched with her old family mark. "It was the only thing I kept," she said. "They burned everything else. But I hid this, even from myself." "What is it?" "In my culture, this is what we give when we promise loyalty. Not just for a day, for a life." Logan stared at the shard, then at her. "You don't have to give me this." "I want to," she said. "It's my reward. You saved me from fire. You gave me peace. You gave me freedom." Her voice trembled. "I give you everything I have left." Logan took her hand gently. "You don't owe me anything." She leaned closer. "I know. That's why it's real." Then she kissed him. No fear, no hesitation, no goodbye. The stars above outpost Jericho burned bright that night, not because someone died, but because two survivors finally stopped running and started living together.